Beside her, Joe's hulking pelican, Gordon, was bobbing his head up and down, as if he were nodding in agreement. My familiar was tiny compared to Gordon. Burrowing owls were small, and Perkins was only 8 inches tall, unless he stretched his legs out fully. He was perched on the back of another chair, his brown and cream head tilted affectionately toward Stella, who was Marley's shy little toucan. "Speaking of unusual witches," Marley said, sidestepping Joe so she could put a pot of pasta sauce on the stovetop. "How did your last video call with Haley go, Hazel?" "She's as stubborn as I am." Witchcraft was passed down from generation to generation, but I had married a non-magical man. My daughter, Tara, hadn't inherited my magical genes. Or so I had thought. Tara might not have been a witch, but she certainly carried witch DNA. Because my granddaughter was one powerful little toddler. Shortly before her 3rd birthday, she had let out a magical exhalation so strong it knocked over every piece of furniture in her preschool room. It had also knocked over all of the other children. Thankfully, no one had been hurt. Since then, though, I'd been coaching Haley, both in person and through video chats. "It's a shame Tara can't help," Joe said. "It's got to be frustrating for her to watch her daughter going through something she can't relate to." "Yeah, she's scared," I said. I hated it for Tara, but I was doing the best I could to reassure her. "Haley is too young to really understand what's going on, but it will get easier as she gets older. Hopefully." The worst-case scenario was that I would have to move back to San Francisco to keep a full-time eye on Haley. A few months ago, I would have loved that idea. These days, though, I was happy being in the magical town of Foxfire Haven, Washington. Again. I was even happy living in the funeral home I had inherited from Uncle Grant. It was full of life now, and full of my friends. Dinner was ready before long, and our birds followed us into the dining room, settling onto the makeshift perch we'd built for them using a fallen tree branch. We had a pleasant meal, talking about each of our days and how we thought that night's spell had gone. After dinner, Marley and I were loading the dishwasher while Joe wiped down the stove, and Valerian got a pot of tea going. When Joe's phone rang, she pulled it from her pocket and frowned at the screen. "Why is my editor calling me after 9 o'clock on a Friday night?" "Newspaper emergency?" I suggested. Joe answered the phone, then fell silent as she listened to whatever her editor was saying on the other end. Her look of curiosity quickly turned to one of concern, and she began to wind a finger around one of her braids. "Mm-hmm. Understood. Yes, of course." After she ended the call, Joe looked around at the 3 of us. "I have to go back to the newspaper office. City Councilman Fortie Fortenbacher was just found dead in the middle of the park."